The Awakening. Commander Sarah Chen wiped the red Martian dust from her helmet visor, her breath steady despite the growing excitement in her chest. The excavation site before her was unlike anything humanity had encountered in their decades of Mars exploration. Crystalline structures jutted from the rock at impossible angles, their surfaces gleaming with an inner light that pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. "Command, are you seeing this?" Sarah's voice carried through the comm system, clear despite the howling dust storm that raged above the canyon. She adjusted her suit's external lights, illuminating more of the alien architecture buried beneath millennia of Martian soil. "Affirmative, Commander. Readings are off the charts." Dr. Rodriguez's voice crackled through her headset. "Whatever this structure is, it's active. Power signatures suggest it's been waiting for something. Or someone." Sarah approached the largest crystal formation, her hand hovering over its surface. The light within seemed to reach for her, tendrils of blue-white energy swirling beneath the translucent exterior. 15 years of space exploration had taught her caution, but something about this felt different. It felt right. "I'm going to make contact," she announced, ignoring the immediate protests from her science team. Before anyone could stop her, Sarah pressed her gloved hand against the crystal surface. The world exploded into light. In an instant, Sarah's consciousness expanded beyond her body. She saw Mars as it had been millions of years ago, a thriving world of crystalline cities and impossible technology. She saw beings of pure energy and thought, their forms barely contained within crystalline shells. The archivists, they called themselves, guardians of knowledge, protectors of countless civilizations. And then she saw them coming. The Void Hunters, massive ships of darkness that devoured light itself, consuming entire civilizations, leaving only empty husks of worlds in their wake. The archivists had fought them, using technology that bent reality itself. But they had only managed to drive them back, not defeat them. And now, after millions of years, the hunters were returning. Sarah gasped as her consciousness snapped back to her body. She found herself on her knees, the crystal structure now fully illuminated and humming with power. A voice echoed in her mind, ancient and powerful yet somehow gentle. At last, it said, "A compatible one has arrived." The air around Sarah shimmered, and a figure materialized, a being of crystalline light and roughly humanoid form. Its voice resonated not through sound but directly in her mind. "I am Nexus, last of the Archivist High Council. We have waited eons for one such as you, hoping our calculations were correct. Your species, humans, you possess something unique, a compatibility with our technology that we ourselves lost long ago." Sarah stood, her training kicking in despite the extraordinary situation. "What do you mean, compatible? What is this place?" "This is a sanctuary, one of many we left throughout the galaxy. But you have found the most important one. For here lies the Guardian's Aegis, our greatest achievement, and our last hope against the coming darkness." The crystalline walls parted, revealing a chamber deeper within. At its center floated what appeared to be a suit of armor, but like nothing Sarah had ever seen. It shifted and flowed like liquid metal, its surface reflecting colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. "The Void Hunters return," Nexus continued, its form flickering with urgency. "We detected their awakening cycles ago. They will reach this solar system within one of your Earth years. The Aegis was created to fight them, but in our final evolution, we lost the ability to interface with it directly. We needed beings of both matter and energy, of both logic and intuition. We needed humans." Sarah approached the Aegis, watching as it responded to her presence, rippling like mercury in zero gravity. "Why me specifically?" "Your mind pattern. Your ability to adapt, to think beyond established parameters while maintaining core stability. You are optimal." Nexus paused, its light dimming slightly. "But the choice must be yours. To bond with the Aegis is to become something more than human, yet remain fundamentally yourself. You will be the bridge between your people and ours, the defender your world needs." Sarah stared at the aegis, her mind racing with implications. Earth was just beginning to establish its first colonies on Mars and Europa. They were taking their first steps into the galaxy. And now she learned that an ancient enemy was coming to destroy everything before humanity had a chance to truly begin. The decision, when it came down to it, wasn't hard at all. What do I need to do? Simply accept the bond. The aegis will do the rest. But know this, once begun, this path cannot be undone. You will be the guardian, the first of a new line of defenders. The responsibility will be enormous. Sarah thought of Earth, of her family back in Singapore, of all the hopes and dreams of humanity reaching for the stars. She thought of the billions of lives that would end if she walked away from this. I accept. The aegis moved like liquid light, flowing around her spacesuit, seeping through it, bonding with her at a molecular level. Sarah gasped as knowledge and power flooded her consciousness. The accumulated wisdom of the archivists, the full capabilities of the aegis, the true scope of the threat they faced. As the transformation completed, Sarah opened her eyes to a new reality. She could see energy flows, quantum possibilities, the very fabric of space-time. The aegis had become a part of her, its power responding to her thoughts. It is done, Nexus said, satisfaction evident in its mental voice. Now we must prepare. Earth must be warned. Defenses must be established. And you, Sarah Chen, must learn to wield powers that my people spent millennia developing. Sarah flexed her hand, watching as the aegis shifted and flowed with the movement, already feeling natural, already feeling right. How much time do we have? Less than we would wish. The Void Hunters approach, and they will show no mercy. They cannot be reasoned with, cannot be deterred. They can only be fought. Then we better get started, Sarah said, her voice firm with determination. Earth needs to know what's coming. And I need to learn everything you can teach me about this technology. As she spoke, Sarah felt the weight of her new responsibility settling onto her shoulders. But along with it came a sense of purpose, of rightness. Whatever was coming, humanity wouldn't face it alone. And she would make damn sure they were ready when the hunters arrived. Nexus's form brightened in approval. Then let us begin. There is much to learn, and time grows short. Above them, the Martian storm raged on, unknowing that beneath its swirling dust, the fate of humanity, and perhaps the galaxy itself, had just shifted onto a new path. The last guardian had awakened, and the final war for survival was about to begin. The Alliance. The United Earth Defense Council chamber hummed with tension. Holographic displays showed the Martian excavation site from multiple angles, focusing on the crystalline structures that now pulsed with steady blue light. At the center of the chamber stood Sarah Chen, the aegis flowing around her like liquid starlight, its surface reflecting impossible colors that made several council members avert their eyes. "You expect us to believe," General Santos said, his weathered face tight with skepticism, "that not only have we discovered alien technology on Mars, but it's warning us about some cosmic horror that's coming to destroy us all." He leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "Commander Chen, are you certain this artifact hasn't affected your judgment?" Sarah met his gaze steadily. The aegis responded to her irritation with subtle ripples of energy, which she carefully controlled. After 3 weeks of intensive training with Nexus, she was beginning to understand just how powerful and dangerous the artifact could be. "Permission to demonstrate, sir." Santos waved a hand dismissively. "By all means, Commander. Show us this supposed alien power." Sarah closed her eyes, connecting with the aegis at a deeper level. The armor flowed and shifted, extending beyond her form. In an instant, a shimmering energy field expanded to encompass the entire chamber. The council members gasped as their surroundings seemed to dissolve, replaced by a perfect recreation of deep space. "This is a memory," Sarah explained, her voice resonating strangely through the visualization. "Not mine. It belongs to the archivists. This is what happened to the Centauri system in another galaxy, 50,000 years ago. The council watched in horror as massive shapes emerged from the darkness between stars. The Void Hunters' ships defied conventional geometry, their surfaces seeming to absorb both light and hope itself. They surrounded a vibrant solar system, their weapons reaching out with tendrils of pure darkness. They don't just destroy civilizations, Sarah continued, controlling the playback of the memory. They consume them. Technology, knowledge, life itself, everything is absorbed into their collective. Nothing remains except dead worlds and empty space. The visualization showed the brutal efficiency of the hunters' attack. Within hours, an entire civilization vanished. Planets that had teemed with life became barren husks. The council chamber fell silent as Sarah ended the demonstration, the Aegis' field retracting. Dr. Emma Patel, Earth's leading xenorchaeologist, was the first to speak. The energy readings from Commander Chen's demonstration are unlike anything we've ever encountered. Whatever this technology is, it's far beyond our current understanding of physics, which is precisely why we should be cautious. Admiral Chen interjected, no relation to Sarah despite sharing her surname. Power like this could be a trap. The archivist's intentions are pure, Sarah interrupted, then added, Sir, I've been connected to their database through the ages. They spent millions of years protecting younger civilizations from threats like the Void Hunters. When they evolved beyond physical form, they didn't abandon their mission. They looked for successors. They chose humanity. Why us? Santos asked, his skepticism somewhat tempered by the demonstration. Out of all the species in the galaxy, Nexus chose that moment to materialize in the chamber, its crystalline form casting prismatic patterns across the walls. Several council members reached for weapons that weren't there. High security protocols meant no firearms were allowed in the chamber. Your adaptability, the archivist's mental voice reached everyone present. Your capacity for both logic and intuition. Your ability to face the impossible and find a way forward. These qualities make humans uniquely suited to wield our technology. And we've tested this compatibility, Sarah added. The Aegis responds to human neural patterns in ways it never did for the archivists themselves. We can use their technology intuitively, creatively, in ways they never imagined. To demonstrate, Sarah created a series of complex energy constructs, the Aegis responding to her thoughts with fluid grace. The archivists designed these tools to follow strict logical patterns, but human minds can improvise, can find new applications. Watch. The energy constructs merged and transformed, taking shapes that made several council members gasp in appreciation. Sarah had learned that by applying human creativity to archivist technology, she could achieve effects that Nexus had thought impossible. The Void Hunters return, Nexus said, its form pulsing with urgency. They have already consumed 3 civilizations in the Andromeda galaxy. Earth is in their path. Without the combined strength of humanity and archivist technology, this world will fall like all the others. Admiral Chen leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. If what you're showing us is real, and after that demonstration, I'm inclined to believe it is, then we need to act quickly. How long do we have? 8 months, Sarah replied. But the Aegis is just the beginning. The archivists left caches of technology across the solar system. With their guidance, we can adapt it for humanity's use. We can build defenses. We can prepare. And you're sure we can trust them? Santos asked, though his tone had shifted from skepticism to cautious consideration. Sarah met his gaze. Sir, I've seen into their memories, their history. They gave up their physical forms trying to stop the hunters. Everything they've done, including waiting millions of years on Mars, was to give humanity a fighting chance. We're not just their successors, we're their last hope. The council chamber erupted in discussion, arguments flying back and forth. But Sarah could see in their faces that the tide had turned. The demonstration, combined with Nexus's presence and the undeniable evidence of the Aegis, had convinced even the most hardened skeptics that the threat was real. Finally, Council President Rivera raised her hand for silence. We need to vote. The proposal before us is to form an official alliance with the archivists and begin immediate preparation for the defense of Earth. All in favor. The vote was unanimous. Very well, Rivera said, standing. Commander Chen, you and your archivist colleague will head up the new Human Archivist Defense Initiative. Whatever resources you need, you'll have them. Just tell us humanity has a chance against these hunters. Sarah straightened, feeling the Aegis respond to her determination. More than a chance, Madam President. The hunters aren't invincible. They've just never faced anything like humanity before. And they certainly haven't faced humanity armed with archivist technology. As the council session ended and plans began to form, Sarah felt a mix of hope and trepidation. They had 8 months to prepare for an enemy that had destroyed countless civilizations. But looking around at the determined faces of Earth's leaders, feeling the power of the Aegis thrumming through her being, and sensing Nexus's quiet approval, she knew humanity would face this threat as they had faced every other, with courage, innovation, and an unwavering determination to survive. The real work was about to begin. Trial by fire. The void between Mars and Jupiter erupted with light as reality itself tore open. Sarah Chen watched from the bridge of the UES Hyperion as the first Void Hunter scout ships emerged from the dimensional rift, their surfaces rippling with darkness that seemed to devour starlight. Multiple contacts, Lieutenant Park announced, his fingers dancing. Across the holographic controls of their newly augmented sensor array, 5 Hunter vessels, capital ship class. Energy signatures are massive, sir. Sarah nodded, feeling the Aegis respond to her rising adrenaline. After 6 months of preparation, humanity was about to face its first real test against the cosmic horror that had haunted the archivists' memories for millennia. Status of the fleet, she asked, watching as the combined human archivist forces moved into defensive positions. 20 Earth ships, each retrofitted with crystalline technology, formed a crescent formation around the Hyperion. They looked almost alien now, their hulls integrated with flowing lines of archivist tech that pulsed with inner light. All ships report ready, Commander Rodriguez replied from Tactical. Archivist defense systems are online and synchronized. The new quantum weapons are charged and targeting systems are locked. Sarah touched the crystalline console before her, connecting directly through the Aegis. She could feel every ship in the fleet, their crews linked through a network of archivist consciousness technology. It had taken months of training for human minds to adapt to this level of connection, but the results were worth it. They could now react as one, sharing thoughts and tactical information at the speed of thought. This is Guardian Actual to all ships. Sarah broadcast across the fleet network. Remember your training. These aren't just weapons we're using. They're tools that respond to human creativity. Use that. Think outside normal combat parameters. The hunters won't expect that. The enemy ships accelerated toward them, their forms distorting space itself as they moved. The first volley of void energy lanced out, reaching for the human fleet like tentacles of absolute darkness. Aegis Defense Protocol. Now, Sarah commanded. The Hyperion's crystalline systems responded instantly, projecting a shield of pure energy that rippled with impossible colors. Around the flagship, the rest of the fleet's shields synchronized, forming a complex geometric pattern that the archivists had never imagined, but that Sarah had conceived during training. The void energy splashed against their defenses, trying to find weak points to corrupt and consume. But the overlapping shields held, each reinforcing the others in a way that mimicked Earth's natural crystal formations, an innovation that had made Nexus's consciousness pulse with surprise when Sarah first suggested it. Return fire, pattern Delta 7. The human fleet responded as one. Quantum beams lanced out, their energy enhanced and focused through crystalline arrays that the archivists had designed, but that human engineers had modified. Where the original designs had focused purely on power, humanity had added flexibility, unpredictability. Two of the hunter ships took direct hits. Their dark surfaces rippled and cracked, leaking what looked like liquid shadow into space. But they adapted quickly, their forms shifting to absorb and redirect the energy. "They're learning," Sarah muttered, watching through both normal sensors and the Aegis's enhanced perception. Just like Nexus warned us, time to show them something new. She reached out through the fleet network, connecting with the crew of each ship. "Execute maneuver Sunburst. Captain Martinez, you have point." The UES Helios, under Martinez's command, broke formation and charged straight at the enemy fleet. It looked like suicide, until the ship's crystalline systems began to pulse with increasing intensity. The hunters, sensing a threat, concentrated their fire on the lone vessel. That was exactly what Sarah had been waiting for. Now, the Helios's engineered crystal arrays suddenly released their stored energy in a massive burst, creating a localized duplicate of a solar flare. At the same time, the rest of the fleet executed a precise series of jumps through quantum space, another human modification of archivist tech, emerging at calculated points around the enemy formation. Caught in the artificial solar flare and surrounded, 3 of the hunter ships found their void energy abilities disrupted by the intense radiation. The human fleet's synchronized attack tore through their weakened defenses, reducing 2 of the massive vessels to drifting debris. But the hunters were ancient and powerful. The remaining ships merged together, forming a single massive vessel that pulsed with concentrated void energy. Its counterattack was devastating, ripping through the shields of 3 human ships before they could adjust their defenses. "Aegis core protocols, full power," Sarah commanded, standing from her chair as the Hyperion shuddered under another attack. The artifact responded, its energy flowing through her and into the ship's systems. "All ships fall back to secondary positions. Prepare for Phase 2. The surviving human vessels executed a fighting retreat, their modified engines leaving trails of quantum distortion that confused the hunters' targeting systems, another innovation born of human creativity meeting archivist technology. Sarah reached out through the fleet network, touching the minds of every crew member. "Remember what we learned about their energy signature. They think in straight lines, in pure consumption. So let's show them something they've never seen before: human improvisation." The fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their formations shifting in patterns inspired by Earth's marine life, schools of fish evading predators. The hunter vessel's attacks became increasingly erratic as its logical systems failed to predict the seemingly chaotic, but actually carefully coordinated movements. "All ships, execute attack pattern Chen 01. Sarah ordered, a small smile playing at her lips. This was the maneuver she'd developed specifically for this moment, one that had made even Nexus express doubt about its feasibility. The human fleet split into 3 groups, each moving in intricate patterns that seemed to make no tactical sense. The hunter vessel tracked them, its void energy weapons reaching out to multiple targets at once. But this was exactly what Sarah had planned for. Quantum fold, now. The fleet's movements suddenly resolved into a complex 3-dimensional pattern, creating a geometric shape that channeled and reflected the hunter's own void energy back at it. The massive vessel staggered, its form distorting as it was caught in the feedback loop of its own power. "All ships, full quantum burst. Fire." 20 beams of concentrated energy, enhanced by crystalline tech and guided by human intuition, struck the hunter vessel simultaneously. For a moment, space itself seemed to hold its breath. Then the massive ship broke apart, its darkness dissipating into the void. The bridge of the Hyperion erupted in cheers, a sentiment echoed across the fleet network. But Sarah remained focused, scanning the battlefield through the Aegis's enhanced stenses. "Status report," she commanded, bringing the celebration to a quick end. 5 ships damaged, 2 critically, Rodriguez reported. But all crews are intact. The new emergency quantum teleporters worked perfectly. No casualties. Sarah nodded, relief washing through her even as she maintained her professional demeanor. Begin recovery operations. I want full sensor sweeps of the debris. Everything we can learn about their technology will help us prepare for. She stopped as new data flooded through the aegis. Her eyes widened as she processed what she was seeing. Commander, Rodriguez asked, noting her expression. It's the quantum wake from the battle, Sarah said, her voice tight. The energy release, it's created a temporary window into their communication network. I can see. She paused, her face paling. The main fleet. It's not coming in 8 weeks like we thought. They're accelerating. They'll be here in less than 3. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. They had won their first battle against the Void Hunters, proving that humanity could indeed fight these cosmic horrors, but the real test was approaching far faster than anyone had anticipated. Send word to Earth, Sarah ordered, her voice firm despite the fear she felt. Tell them we won this battle, but also tell them to accelerate all defense preparations. We're about to face the full might of the Void Hunters, and we need to be ready. As the Hyperion set course for Earth, Sarah stared out at the battlefield, where human technology and ingenuity had just achieved what the archivists had thought impossible. They had proven they could fight the Hunters. Now they just had to prove they could survive what was coming. The real war was about to begin. The last stand. Earth gleamed like a jewel in the void, its surface now dotted with crystalline defense platforms that pulsed with archivist energy. Sarah Chen stood in the Hyperion's observation deck, watching as the last of the quantum shield generators came online. The massive structures orbited in precise patterns, forming geometric designs that would have been impossible just months ago. Beautiful, isn't it? Nexus materialized beside her, its crystalline form reflecting the blue light of Earth. In all our millennia of defending younger races, we never saw adaptation like this. Your people have achieved in months what took us centuries. Sarah nodded, feeling the aegis respond to her mixed emotions. Human desperation is a powerful motivator. When our backs are against the wall, we tend to get creative. She turned to face the archivist. Have you analyzed the latest modifications? Your engineers' improvements to our quantum field technology are unprecedented. Using Earth's magnetic field as an amplifier, we never considered such an approach. Nexus's form flickered with what Sarah had learned to recognize as excitement. The integration of human neural networks with our crystalline computing. It's creating possibilities we never imagined. A soft chime interrupted their conversation. Commander Chen to the bridge. Rodriguez's voice came through the comm. Long-range sensors have detected something you need to see. Sarah's heart rate quickened as she strode onto the bridge moments later. The main view screen showed a massive distortion in space, spreading across the Kuiper belt like a cancer. They're earlier than expected, she said, her voice steady despite the fear that threatened to rise. How long? At current speeds, the main Void Hunter fleet will reach Earth orbit in 18 hours, Lieutenant Park reported. Initial count shows over 300 capital ships, plus support vessels, far more than we anticipated. Sarah connected to the aegis, letting its calming influence steady her nerves. Send the alert. Initiate Defense Protocol Omega. All civilian ships to designated safety zones. Military vessels to battle stations. She paused, then added, and get me a direct line to the Defense Council. They need to know we're about to face humanity's greatest test. The next 12 hours passed in a blur of activity. The combined human archivist fleet took up defensive positions around Earth, their crystalline enhanced hulls forming intricate patterns designed to channel and amplify their collective power. Ground-based defense systems hummed to life, their energy signatures reaching into space like ethereal towers. Sarah stood on the Hyperion's bridge, now transformed into a command center unlike anything in human history. Crystalline displays showed the positions of every ship, every weapon platform, every defensive measure humanity had managed to create in their limited time. Status report, she commanded, watching as the void between worlds seemed to darken with the approach of their enemy. All ships report ready, Rodriguez replied. The quantum shield network is at full power. Ground-based defenses are online. The lunar backup facilities are secured and prepared for emergency protocols. And the Aegis modifications? Complete. Nexus answered, its form manifesting beside the tactical display. Though I must again express concern about the strain these changes will put on your biological systems. Sarah managed a grim smile. Noted, but we're past the point of playing it safe. She turned to address the bridge crew. What we've prepared for is coming. Everything humanity is, everything we could be, hangs on what happens in the next few hours. The first signs of the Void Hunter fleet emerged from the darkness. Massive ships that seemed to be made of solidified shadow, their forms defying conventional geometry. They moved with terrible purpose, their very presence causing reality to warp around them. All ships, battle formations, Sarah ordered, her voice carrying across the fleet network. Remember your training. Remember what we learned in the first engagement. They think in straight lines. We think in curves. They follow logic. We follow instinct. They consume. We create. The Void Hunters struck first, their weapons reaching across space like tentacles of pure darkness. But humanity was ready. The quantum shield network activated, its crystalline matrices channeling power in ways the archivists had never imagined, creating defensive patterns based on fractals found in nature. Return fire, pattern Alpha 7. The human fleet responded as one, their weapons synchronized through the neural network. Quantum beams lanced out, their power amplified by the crystalline tech, their trajectories following unpredictable paths that the hunters' logical systems struggled to track. Several enemy ships broke apart under the assault, but more kept coming. The void between Earth and the Moon filled with combat, energy weapons crossing paths with darkness that devoured light itself. Human ships danced through the chaos in formations inspired by schools of fish, flocks of birds, even the complex patterns of weather systems. They're adapting, Park shouted as several hunter ships merged together, forming massive structures that began to overwhelm the quantum shields. Shield generators 3 through 7 are failing. Sarah closed her eyes, connecting deeper with the Aegis than ever before. She could feel every ship in the fleet, every weapon platform, every defense system. More than that, she could feel the crews, their determination, their fear, their unwavering will to survive. Initiate Protocol Phoenix, she commanded, her voice resonating with power. All ships prepare for synchronized quantum fold. Rodriguez looked up sharply. Commander, that protocol hasn't been tested at full scale. The power requirements alone cold. We're out of options. Sarah cut him off. The hunters adapt to everything we throw at them. Time to show them something they can't adapt to. Human sacrifice. She reached out through the fleet network, touching the mind of every crew member. We're about to do has never been attempted. The archivists thought it was impossible. But that's what humanity does. We achieve the impossible when we have no other choice. The Void Hunter fleet pressed their advantage, their weapons tearing through the quantum shields. Several human ships exploded, their crews barely managing to quantum teleport to safety before their vessels were consumed by darkness. All ships on my mark, Sarah said, feeling the Aegis's power building to levels that made her entire body burn with pain. Remember, timing has to be perfect. Everything depends on this moment. The massive hunter vessels merged into a single enormous structure, a void in space that threatened to devour Earth itself. This was it, humanity's last stand against the darkness that had consumed countless civilizations. Sarah Chen stood on her bridge, the Aegis blazing around her like a star made solid, and prepared to give the order that would either save humanity or doom it forever. All ships, execute Protocol Phoenix. Now. Legacy of Two Worlds. Protocol Phoenix initiated with a flash of light that outshone the sun. Every ship in the human fleet executed a precisely coordinated quantum fold, their crystalline systems pushing far beyond their designed limits. In that moment, as reality itself seemed to bend, Sarah Chen felt the full power of the Aegis flow through her like liquid fire. The human fleet didn't just disappear. They tore holes in space itself, creating a complex web of quantum rifts that surrounded the massive Void Hunter vessel. But this wasn't a retreat. This was humanity's ultimate gambit. All ships, channel power to the Aegis, Sarah commanded, her voice strained as she struggled to contain the overwhelming energy coursing through her body. Just like we planned. Everything you've got. Through the neural network, she felt the crews of every surviving ship respond. Energy flowed through the quantum rifts, all of it directing into the Aegis. The artifact blazed brighter and brighter, its power growing beyond anything the archivists had ever imagined possible. Sarah, Nexus's voice came urgently through her mind. The power levels. Your biological system cannot sustain this. You must. No choice. Sarah managed through gritted teeth. The calculations. They're perfect. Human intuition. Plus archivist precision. Trust us. The massive Void Hunter construct seemed to sense the threat. It began to shift and flow, its darkness reaching out to consume the quantum rifts themselves. But it was too late. Sarah opened her eyes, now glowing with the same impossible light as the Aegis. You know what humanity's greatest strength is? She asked, her voice carrying across all frequencies, reaching even into the void where the hunter's consciousness dwelled. Not our technology, not our adaptability. It's our ability to look into the darkness and still see light, to face the impossible and find hope. The Aegis's power reached its peak. Sarah felt her body beginning to fail under the strain, but she held on. Through the neural network, she felt the support of every crew member, their collective will giving her strength. We saw what you are, she continued, addressing the hunters directly now. You consume. You destroy. You take. But we create. With a thought, Sarah activated the final phase of Protocol Phoenix. The quantum rifts collapsed inward, creating a cascading reaction that the archivists had thought impossible. The laws of physics themselves seemed to protest as space folded in ways it was never meant to. The Void Hunter construct, for the first time in its ancient existence, tried to retreat. But the quantum web held it in place, using its own mass against it. Now, Sarah commanded, all ships, execute final sequence. Every human vessel simultaneously released the last of their energy reserves. The power flowed through the quantum rifts, through the Aegis, and into Sarah. For a moment, she was everything and nothing. A conduit for the combined power of two civilizations, human and archivist. She saw the Void Hunters for what they truly were, ancient, yes, but not invincible. They had grown powerful through consumption, but they had never faced a force quite like this. The precision of archivist technology combined with the desperate creativity of humanity. The Aegis transformed the energy, not into a weapon of destruction, but into something entirely new. It created light that was more than light, power that was more than power. It took the hunters' greatest strength, their ability to consume, and turned it against them. The massive construct began to collapse in on itself, its darkness devoured by the very void it had used to consume so many others. But this wasn't destruction, it was transformation. As consciousness began to fade, Sarah felt something impossible through the neural network. The Void Hunters were changing. Their ancient hunger was being transformed, their very nature reshaped by the combined power of human will and archivist technology. They were like us once, she whispered, understanding flooding through her. Before the hunger consumed them, before they forgot how to create. The light reached its peak, and Sarah Chen, humanity's last guardian, finally let go. When she opened her eyes again, she was floating in what seemed to be an ocean of stars. Nexus's crystalline form hovered nearby, pulsing with what she recognized as joy. "You did it," the archivist said. "You succeeded where we failed for millennia. You didn't just defeat the hunters. You transformed them." Sarah tried to move and found that she could. Her body felt different, neither fully human nor fully energy. The ages had changed her, just as they had changed the hunters. "The fleet?" she asked. "Earth? Safe," Nexus assured her. "Your sacrifice, your willingness to risk everything, it created something new. The hunters are no longer what they were. They have remembered what it means to create rather than consume. And you," the archivist's form brightened. "You have become something unique, a bridge between organic and energy, between human and archivist." Sarah looked down at herself, seeing how the aegis had become truly part of her, its power now permanently intertwined with her being. "What happens now?" "Now." Nexus's form rippled with anticipation. "Now we begin the real work. Humanity has proven itself more than worthy of our legacy. With the hunters transformed and your people ready to take their place among the stars, we can finally fulfill our original purpose, not just protecting the galaxy, but helping it grow, helping it create." Through her new senses, Sarah could feel Earth below, her people celebrating their victory, but also beginning to understand the changes that were coming. Humanity had faced its greatest test and emerged not just victorious, but transformed. They had proven that creation was stronger than consumption, that hope could overcome even the darkest of voids. "Then let's get started," Sarah said, feeling the power of both humanity and the archivists flowing through her. "We have a galaxy to rebuild." As she looked out at the endless expanse of space, Sarah Chen, once a simple commander, now something far more, smiled. The age of the Void Hunters was over. The age of creation was about to begin. And humanity, as always, would lead the way into that bright new future, carrying with them the legacy of two worlds and the promise of countless more to come. The end.